Welcome to the University of Findlay Art and Culture Show. I am Sharinda, your host, and today we have on set with us Mr. Jay Black.
Good to be here. Hi.
Hi, we are so excited to have you here.
I feel like I'm more culture than art.
Do you think so?
I think so. I mean, I was trying to figure out, as you were saying, art and culture, but that feels like I'm putting it up too high as well. Do you have art, culture, and then other? I think I'd be other.
No, I think that you are a lot of art and a lot of culture that's individually unique to you.
Okay, well, that's a very good compliment that could not be a compliment as well. That's like
it's a compliment. It's a compliment.
It's like when my son's teachers is like, he's energetic. And you're like, that could be good, but that could also be terrible.
Could be very bad, yes. Well, because you are a stand-up comedian, first, and a writer also, that goes along with comedy, but we'll get into some other things that you have been working on, projects.
Yeah.
I think that art and culture go together for you.
Yeah, I think that when you're a comedian, the one thing that you never want to do is be sincere or show actual emotion. So when somebody says, oh, what you do is an art, their first instinct every comic has is, no, it's not. No, whatever.
Yeah,
no, I talk about, breaking wind. That's my, I can't curse on this thing would be my guess, right?
That is correct.
Just making sure. You never know. You never know if there's an after dark.
Yeah.
Well, you should do Findlay Art and Culture after dark.
Okay, we will propose that.
Just a thought. So that we could just, we could take our ties off and be a little dirty.
I think I want to keep my tie on. So we have known each other a little over 12 years.
Yes.
And I have had the honor of enjoying watching you entertain audiences with comedy in multiple cities around the country.
Yeah.
And so we are really excited that you are here today to talk about comedy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You live in Jersey.
Yeah, I live in South Jersey, which is 548 miles from this spot. I know because I drove here last night.
And I will say, I don't have many other friends that I call them up and say, will you do an interview? Sure, I'll jump in my car and drive 548 miles to be interviewed by you. So thank you for that.
That's how much is going on in my town.
That's true.
I was very excited to hop in the car.
Very true. COVID is really slowing everyone down.
It is. It's and it's kind of interesting because I'm an introvert. Right, and I think,
never knew that about you, Jay.
We see one of the things what we're gonna. I think when we talk about comedy, and I think this is true of all comics, is that we have an extroverted job but an introverted soul, and because part of the thing about being a comedian is you observe, but when you observe, you can't be part of the thing you're observing. It's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle of a barbecue. You can't be in the barbecue and also observing what's going on in the barbecue. So we have this like weird tension between the extroverted nature of what we do and the introverted nature of our soul, which is just a long way of saying, quarantine has been good for me emotionally because I haven't had to see people, which is wonderful. But what I've realized is that my wife and my kids and I have a relationship built on me not being there. So me staying home, they're all just looking at me like, you can go anytime. That's been the main issue.
When do you get your shot? When do you get your shot?
Get your shot, and we don't care. My son came up to me and was like, I re-listened to Cats in the Cradle, and I think that kid turned out okay. So if you want to just ignore me for the next 15 years, that's fine. But yeah, so I think quarantine and COVID and everything has kind of put a crawl to it, but for my nature, it's not been. You've
loved it.
Yeah, it's not been that bad,
Well, and you mentioned your wife, and she has been a staple in your comedy from almost the very beginning.
That's why I married her.
And she's a lot of your material.
Yes, she is.
Even before COVID, and I understand from our chats before this interview that your family's very much more part of some of the more recent things that you've written.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about your wife, because it's a neat story.
Well, she is a teacher. She's a teacher of the deaf. She's a child of a deaf adult, Coda. She was raised by a deaf mother, so she's a teacher of the deaf. I met her when she was a substitute teacher. I was a teacher first before I did this. I think a lot of comedians start as teachers because it's a way to perform every day. And I was a second year teacher and she was the hot sub. And, of course, my animal magnetism was too much for her to resist. And we started dating, and we were actually married at the school, not at the school. We were teaching at the same school. She got hired full time. And to this day, I just want to say, if any of my former students are watching, there was a rumor that Mrs. Black and I were caught in Flago, not Flago, doing stuff. Never. That has never happened. I can't even get her to do that at home. So I just want to clear the air now, because there was rumors that I don't like. I don't like the rumors about that. But yeah, she's got a very cutting sense of humor. I think that's part of the reason why we got together. And she kind of understands that there is, you sort of extract the humor from the situation and you bring it out to the crowd. And it's not the truth.
Nope, it's a story.
It's a story, and it's built in truth, but it's worked and manipulated and changed. And once I started getting paid, all the problems went away with the jokes. She was like, "These jokes are terrible. I can't believe you're saying them. How much are you getting paid? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I can deal with it.
Yeah, keep going. In fact, let me come up with some new stuff to yell at you for."
Yeah.
I will say, just in general, if you want to be a comedian and you're in the middle of an argument with your wife and she says something funny, don't stop to write it down.
Yeah, that's not good.
Just finish the argument, put it in a little thing, and then go do it later.
Or at least say, "I love you, I'm sorry."
Yeah, "I love you so much, you're the best. Let me just write down what you said, because I'm going to use that."
Oh, so you have how many children?
3. Two of which I'm 100% sure are mine. We're not 100. No, guys, you got to joke. It's comedy.
Yeah. Well, and have you found that the personality of the people going to comedy shows has changed a little bit? I've noticed sometimes that when I'm with a comedian and they are doing their routine, when I'm with younger adults, they start to take it very seriously and start to analyze it and go, "I can't believe that happened. I can't believe." Right. And I have to turn to them and go, "It's a story."
Right.
But how challenging is that from the stage? Are you noticing that has changed, or is that just in compartments of personality people?
I think there is an issue, and I'm going to say with young people, but when you do that, it sounds like you're old. So as a 24-year-old, I'm going to say my generation. I think that there is an irony gap right now. And what I mean by that is I grew up Gen Xer, and Gen Xers only speak in irony. We only have sarcasm. There's nothing sincere to what we do. So we sort of come from this world of everything's artificial, so everything's okay to say, because it's all just sort of, we know it's entertainment, it's fun. And you can get the real story later, but for now, this is isn't it just funny to say this? And I think when I look at millennials and Zoomers and the people coming up, I think that they don't necessarily enjoy living in an irony-rich world. Gotcha. I'll put it that way. And a lot of comics will be negative about that. I don't mind it. It's just a different way of coming into it. Like with the older audience, I don't feel the need to say, "Hey, all of these are jokes." But with the younger audience, every once in a while, I'll just remind them, and not in a mean way, like, "Hey, I'm having fun," because when I first started doing stand-up, I had people coming up to me, like kids at college shows, going, "Is everything all right with you and your wife? Are you guys good? Because you see a lot of the stuff you say seems very upsetting." And I'm like, No.
They're the psychology majors.
And you want to say to them, like, "Hey, positive stuff isn't funny." Like if I just got up and said, "My wife's beautiful and I love her very much and she's a great mom," nobody's applauding for that. It's like, "Oh, that's hilarious." Yeah, that's it. So it's you only kind of speak about the negative because that's where the funny is.
And I love the fact that you brought it to the college campuses, because you have received accolades and honors, national honors, as being a comedian of the year and an entertainer of the year for the college market, which is awesome. Congratulations.
They've been very good to me, colleges, and I hope they will continue, because again, I'm only 24.
Well, you've been very good to us too. And I do appreciate, I heard you in an interview earlier this week on the radio say that when I go to a university's house, it's different than if I'm performing in a nightclub or a comedy club. And so if you take your shoes off, I'm going to take my shoes off. And I think that's why you've been so successful in this market, is because you have been sensitive to what the needs are of each of those institutions, because it's a gamut. It goes from one end to the other of what you can and can't do on campuses or say.
And it's if you performed anywhere, like if you came to someone's house, and again, the thing I always use is, if I'm performing at a comedy club, that's my house. You've come to my house. And I can throw you out. I can be mean, I can curse, I can do whatever I want because it's my house. If I'm at a college or a corporate, I'm at your house, so you're gonna have different rules. Like, there are comics I don't think who quite understand that because, if I'm sitting at someone's house at the dinner table and I use a curse word because I'm from Jersey and they're like
natural.
And they go,
part of the
oh,
language.
We don't curse at the dinner table. I don't flip the table over and go, well, then I'm not gonna be here and walk out and complain to my agent who booked me for the dinner. I'm going to just go, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And then I won't do that again, and then it's not a problem. So I don't know if that's, means that I don't have any artistic integrity, but the other thing I think of is like, Michelangelo, when he was painting the Sistine Chapel, I'm sure, he did the Sistine Chapel, right? That was Michelangelo? Did I get that right? Was it Raphael?
Yes.
Okay. But he's doing the Sistine Chapel. You know that there was like one of the priests next to him going, "Can we make does it have to be that?" I mean, because art is always a compromise. I write movies. And
Yep, that's where I was going to go next.
And one of the things that I'll say about movies is it is nothing but compromise. I'm producing one right now. So this is the first time that I've sort of leapt from the writer role to the producer role.
Okay.
And every single step is, we wrote a bridge into the latest script. And the director is telling me, well, I want to go here to film it. The producer is telling me, well, we can't go there. That's going to be too expensive. So how do we film a bridge, right? And if you have infinite money and infinite time and everybody can
no
problem. But when you're filming a movie on a budget you got to make that decision. And nobody stops and goes, well, my artistic integrity is ruined if I can't get this bridge in here.
And if they do, they're not hired again.
Right, exactly. So I think, and I'm going to say something a little controversial here, I think good art is compromised. And what I mean by that is like, I used to teach high school English. And if you look at a poem, any poem that has form to it, those poems are, if you look at a sonnet, it's 14 lines, it's got to be in a certain rhyme pattern, it's got to have a certain rhythm to it. The best poems are the ones that find a way to say what they want to say while conforming to that, while compromising to that form. Versus the free poetry that I would read as an English teacher that would make me want to jump out of a window because it's like, the rain and I'm sad and gloomy. And you just want to go like, hey, learn how to write a sonnet and everything else becomes easier. So I guess what I'm saying is my jokes are like a sonnet. Thank you, good night.
So ladies that enjoy watching Hallmark, and I guess there are a few men out there too that enjoy watching Hallmark.
Yes.
Jay has been in a Hallmark film and has also helped with writing, correct?
I wrote a movie called Love Always Santa, and I'm in it. There's a really good-looking guy. I stand next to him.
Okay.
Through the whole movie,
and you're not masked, so
no, this is
they're
an
not going to know
times,
who you look like or what you look like anyway.
Yeah, so it's just oh yeah, I'm the good-looking guy in that movie. That's how you can tell it's me. So I did that, and it's always fun for me when I do like comedy in Jersey, because I'll do like a nightclub set. And I end with saying, so I write Hallmark movies, and everybody laughs because they go, well, how can...
You just did all this Jersey humor. How can you do this? Yeah.
And I always say, well, I contain multitudes. So, but yeah, I was doing road comedy, and when you're on the road, and I'm sure when you talk to other comedians, they'll say this. It's easy to get in trouble when you're on the road because you only work 1 hour a night, and you're in Vegas and you have 23 hours to do terrible things. So rather than try to be divorced, I said, I'm just going to start writing. And my writing partner and I, we wrote a bunch of scripts, and then we started sending them in.
From fourth grade, correct?
Yeah,
That's been a lifetime friend.
Brian Herzlinger.
And that segues into Lifetime, the channel.
Yes.
Because you've also written, you have like 3 productions
so I have
ready to be released, 3 movies?
Yeah, I have a Psycho Yoga Instructor, which is a real movie that I wrote, that came out this past June. And I have 3 more that one films in February, one films in September, and then one films TBD. So at some point. And I just found out that there's a 4th one that is going to be airing in February or March called All for Her, which I wrote 5 years ago. And handed it in.
And that's another thing. When you're in the writing business, it doesn't all just happen.
No.
There's a lot of hurry up and wait.
There's a lot of miscommunication, too, because I handed this in, and they were like, great, we're going to give you notes. and then never got notes. So I was like, I guess they didn't like it. And
you just got delayed notes.
Right, exactly.
5 years later.
Well, 5 years later, I got an email that said, so how do you want to be credited in the movie? And I was like, what? Huh? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
So there's another one, All for Her. If you see that, I wrote some of it, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, it was at a dark time in my life. So I may have written all of it. I may have written none of it. I really don't know.
But your name will be on it.
Yeah, my name will be on it, and that's the important thing.
So if you want to see what Jay looks like, you can go to social media.
Jay Black is funny on Twitter.
And on Instagram, do you have anything?
I don't. So I focused. So with this pandemic, I said I'm going to come out of this with a following. And what's the best way to do a following? It's not to look at me, Sharinda. So I said no Instagram. I focused just on Twitter. So
okay.
Jay Black is funny on Twitter.
And there is some YouTube.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of YouTube stuff out there. I didn't put it out there, so
And do you have an IBMD page?
There's that's just Google Jay Black.
Yep.
Dumb movies.
So you can see what he looks like, and you can see what his credits are.
You know what? I'll be honest. They're gonna like me more if they can't see me.
That is not true.
If you don't Google my face, just Google my work. You'll like it.
And you can also follow and be looking for him in the comedy clubs. As soon as they open and start going strong again. And then, of course, he'll be in neighborhoods near you with the college market, too. So we want to thank you for stopping by today.
Thank you for having me. This was a delight.
It has been wonderful. It's great to see you again in person.
Yes.
And we thank you. It's been a while since we've been able to visit you. So thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you the next time on the Art and Culture Show. Until then, be well.